Within a secluded island where gifted individuals are trained to defeat monstrous creatures called the enemies of humanity, an elite academy selects teens from around the world who possess supernatural powers. Nakajima is a boy who, unlike everyone else in his class of gifted, seems to not possess any powers. This instantly marks him as an outcast and a subject of bullying. One day, the teacher introduces a couple of additions to the class, and a boy walks in, introducing himself as Kaio. The class brute Mogo demands from him what his talent is, only for the teacher to say that Kaio's talent is a secret, making Nakajima suspect that he must be powerful. Following Kaio, a pink-haired girl walks in and introduces herself in a bubbly manner as Nana, as she tells the class that her talent is mind-reading, much to everyone's astonishment. After the introductions, they proceed to appoint a class representative. Anna kicks it off by nominating Nakajima, pointing out all the qualities that make him a good leader. But none of them listen, and the two popular kids volunteered themselves instead. They could not agree who to vote for, so they settled it in a match. Saya, the boy who can freeze any liquid, and Mogo, who can shoot fireballs, face each other in the field for a duel. After a series of attacks from either party, Saya defeats Mogo by freezing his leg, making him unable to stand up. Angered and unable to accept defeat, Mogo stands up and shoots a large fireball at Saya. Within a moment, Nakajima is on his feet, blocking the fireball and disintegrates it. Bewildered, Nana asks Nakajima how he did it, and who reveals that his power is to neutralize other people's powers. After the heroic display of impressive skills, the class agrees to elect Nakajima as the class representative, sparking a new confidence in the boy. Later on, standing on the cliff, Nakajima tells Nana that he can't believe he is the leader. In her bubbly manner, she congratulates him and tells him that this is a new start for him. Nakajima takes her hand to shake it. Out of nowhere, Nana's cute aura transforms to a dark one, and she throws him off his balance and pushes him off the cliff. Bewildered, Nakajima holds onto a rope for dear life and asks her what's happening. She says in a deep and ominous voice that the real enemies of humanity are not vile creatures he sees in his textbooks, but the people like him, who have the powers that can easily oppress those who do not. And after seeing what he can do, she knows that he's a great threat to humanity. With one final shove, she leads him plummeting down to his death. At the center of a dimly lit courtroom, Nana stands under a spotlight. Their officials concealed in the dark are revealed to give her instructions to eradicate the Talents, aka her classmates. Because, as it turns out, the enemies of humanity aren't hideous banked monsters, but are humans who have mutated and acquired supernatural powers and took advantage of it to oppress the rest of humanity. During a class activity in a lake, the teacher tries to get chaotic class to pay attention. Having enough of it, Saya shows off his talent by freezing the entire lake. Nana observes how thick the ice is and how unlikely it is that it'll thaw quickly. Later that day, Nana sits with Saya and watches Mogo bully another student. Mogo swings to punch but unexpectedly gets knocked off himself. This is revealed to be Shibasa's doing. Another boy in the class, whose ability is rumored to be being able to stop time. Saya tells Nana with a sigh that Shibasa might be the most powerful one in the class, making Nana mark him as her next target. Nana joins Shibasa as he eats lunch in an attempt to know more about his ability. She discovers that Shibasa can actually travel back in time as opposed to being able to stop it. Nana devises a plan on how to kill him when Kaio, one of the new students who came with Nana and whose ability is kept a secret, joins them. He seemingly interrogates Nana about Nakajima, interested or concerned by his disappearance. However, Nana smoothly takes the upper hand in the conversation and drives Kaio away to avoid more suspicion. Shortly after this, Shibasa grows interested in investigating Nakajima's disappearance as well, and tells Nana that he will help in finding him. This, however, led to his ultimate demise as Nana managed to send him back to the time where the lake was frozen and trapped him under. Without any way out alive, because Kaio is starting to suspect Nana, she takes it upon herself to unmask Kaio's powers, so she could figure out a way to dispose of him. After deducing from their interactions that he does not have the ability to smell, she sets him up to go into a room full of gasoline, as she rigged to explode when the stove is lit up. Her plan succeeded and finally figured out that his power was self-regeneration. After being burnt up by the flames, Nana saw in real time how this body healed from the burns almost instantly. This, however, only made Kaio more suspicious of her. In an attempt to keep Kaio off her back so she could continue with her kills, Nana devises a plan to make herself look like a victim by secretly stabbing herself in the back and blaming it on the enemies of humanity. This somehow works, and she even gained the favor of her classmates, and they ended up voting her as a class representative. She even designated someone to go over the class and ask him their abilities. This, however, backfires when Sunuki approaches her one evening to show her a photograph and asks her to explain it. Sunuki reveals that he can travel to the future, and the photograph she's looking at is something that will happen in the next few hours. In it, she was holding a weapon, posed to strike the tied-up Sunaki. She tells him that it must be a mistake, but Sunaki refuses to let it go. He takes her to a restaurant and proves that his photographs from the futures are in a bluff and what they capture would really come true. Nana continues to deny this until Sunaki shows her another photograph and asks her to explain it. It shows Nana on the cliff in the afternoon that Nakajima died, kicking him to his death. Sunaki threatens to show the pictures to the class, making Nana realize that he's trying to blackmail her. Nana tells Sunaki that she is not an enemy of humanity and asks how she can make him believe her, and Sunaki suggests that she could be his girlfriend. Nana sees this as an opportunity to monitor him closely. After being told to spend the night with him, Sunaki falls asleep as the instant camera on Sunaki's bed takes pictures. Nana hides the photos and leaves the room to take snapshots to replace them. Later that day, Sunaki tells Nana that he took 5 pictures, but woke up to only find 4. He reaches into her top to take out a photo of her tied up. This takes Sunaki's guard down since he concurred that with this photograph that Nana is the one in danger and not him. Sunaki tells Nana that he will go to the pea shed at night, and should nothing happen to him at 10 p.m., he will believe her. 10 p.m. struck, and despite Tsukunichi's confidence that he wouldn't be dying that night, he was still found lifelessly sprawled on the ground. As it turns out, the photograph of Nana being tied up was staged by none other than Nana herself to lower his guard. As soon as he entered the shed, fate took its course and took his life. But even with one problem down, Nana still has a lot on her plate when Kaio and Mikuru, the student with healing abilities, walk in on her, standing beside Sunaki's body. She played it off by saying that Sunaki took her there and showed her photographs of her doing private activities. Kaio deduced that she only might have taken him down for self-defense but wasn't entirely sure. Everyone left except for Mikuru, who was still trying to bring Sunaki to life. She felt something beneath the dead boy's jacket and took it. Just when the ominous-looking Nana enters the room, Mikuru glimpses a photograph of Sunaki's vision of her idolized Nana, kicking Nakajima off a cliff. Thanks to Miju's blind admiration for Nana, she believes it when Nana tells her that Sunaki cannot always make predictions and that it might only be a dream. At Sunaki's funeral, tensions are rising, and everyone seems to be a bit shaken that the enemies of humanity are closing in. Kelly demands that he wants to do an autopsy, while Nana does what she can to prevent it. Just as Kaio is about to open the casket, it's opened from the inside by Sunaki's glowing corpse, throwing everyone into a state of shock. Shinji, a quiet and usually absent boy in class, steps in front and introduces himself as a necromancer. He said that he could reanimate the dead and he would make him volunteer information. In this case, the case of his death. In a desperate attempt, Nana announces that she can hear Tsukunichi's thoughts to let him rest and is settled that they perform the more respectable approach of the autopsy instead. That same night, Nana trails Shinji, marking him as her next prize since his talents in reanimating the dead is a big threat to her mission, as it could incriminate her. She discovers that Shinji has a relationship with Yuka, a girl in the class with superhuman strength. She befriends them and comes to realize a bigger revelation. That Yuka is the actual necromancer and Shinji is actually dead and is only being reanimated by the obsessed Yuka. Nana catches Yuka in a fragile state, takes her poison needles and finishes her off. Nana sneaks up behind Habu in the forest and asks where her friend Kiori is, telling Nana that she got into a fight with Kiori. Nana pricks Habu with her poison needle and takes her phone, telling her to give her the password in exchange for the antidote. Habu gives her the password, and Nana leaves her to die before going into Kiori's room to poison Kiori's contact lenses. Later on, Nana takes Kaio, Mikuru, Seiyu, and Mogo to the forest to explain how Yuka was the necromancer who reanimated Shinji's body to be with him forever. In the end, she regretted doing it and killed herself. Kaio's suspicion on Nana are becoming greater and greater as she struggles to cover up the kills. The other classmates, especially the loyal Metro, still refuse to believe it. In the dormitories, the group hears a scream. Running to Kiori's room, they find her dead as Kyoja investigates and finds that Kiori was poisoned through her contact lenses. Mitri even mentions Habu's talent was turning her saliva into poison-making. Kaio suspects Habu. After going through Kiori's phone, Mikuru tells Kaio that Kiori and Habu last spoke when they were in the forest with Nana, convinced that Nana killed Kiori. Kaio tells some of their classmates that Nana is the culprit. After explaining his evidence against Nana, Kaio begins to search Nana for Habu's phone. After searching Nana but finding no phone to prove his claim, Kaio apologizes to Nana, after Mikuru yells at him for putting her through so much. Nana tells the group that she heard Habu's spirit voice, telling them not to suspect anyone again. Later that night, Mikuru sees Nana guarding the dormitories as the nights look out. In her sweet manner, she offers to be on the lookout so Nana could rest. But as though she flipped a switch, an ominous look casts onto her face, and she holds a blade to Nana's throat, asking her what her real talent is. This takes Nana off her guard, but she quickly gets her footing and disarms her, wounding her hand. The next day, Nana takes Mikuru to the cliff to confront her, knowing that that person isn't actually Mikuru, because she bandaged her hand wound instead of healing it. Mikuru's shape shifts into a man who introduces himself as Jin, and tells her that he used to go to the school. Taking Nana to a cave, Jin offers Nana coffee as he makes himself a cup. Jin reveals that he's actually been acting as the cat that Keio's been feeding, and that 5 years ago his classmates were at war with one another. However, Nana slips poison into the drink, making Jin drop dead. Or so Nana thought, dialing her phone to call the committee to report about Jin. Keio grabs a hold of her phone and then transforms to Mikuru and Seiya, as Nana realizes with horror that Jin can copy not only the appearance but also the powers of whoever he shape-shifts to. As Nana runs to escape the cave, Jin shifts into Mogo and throws a massive fireball to stop her. Jin asks about Nana's family situation as a way to build trust, and Nana opens up to him. Jin warns her to be careful, saying that she might not be the only murderer on the island. Nana wakes up in a real Metro's bed with her back healed. The untainted nature of Mikuru affects Nana to open up about her past, especially her parents' early death, which left her an orphan at a very young age. After opening up, Nana looks closely and analyzes Mikuru, thinking that she must have a dark side like everyone else if she were to kill her off someday, but she couldn't seem to find any. At Shinichi Yuka and Kiori's funeral, Keio tells his teacher to let him talk to the higher-ups next time they call. All while Nana sees Mikuru falling ill on account of her overexerting her powers. Later in Nana's room, Jin appears and tells Nana that he will give her her phone in exchange for her opening up to him again. Mikuru enters the room, making Jin transform into the cat, as Nana opens up about what type of child she was. Nana tells them how she snuck out of the window one night and forgot to lock it, causing a burglar to break in, and that resulted in her parents' death. In the morning, Kilia shows the girls a dead body, as Nana realizes that there is another murderer in their midst, identifying the dead student as Ryuji. Keio asks Mogo what he was doing the night before. Mogo tells Keio that he was giving his friend a pep talk. Kelia asks Mogo's friend what their talents are, and they reveal to him that it is astral travel, voice mimicking, and a human magnet. Keio then asks Ryuji's girlfriend Fuko what her talent is, as she takes him outside to demonstrate her ability to channel the wind to attack. Finishing up outside, their teacher runs to Keio, telling him the higher-ups are on the phone. Back at the room, Nana and Mikuru are busy investigating, when Nana notices Mikuru looking worried. Later on, Mikuru asks Nana to live with her and her parents after graduation, causing Nana to get emotional and leave to her room. After receiving back her uniform from Mikuru, Nana realizes that the poison bottle she used to try to kill Jin is missing. Keio appears and their teacher tells him that someone from headquarters will be coming. After being questioned by Keio, Fuku asks Nana to help her avenge Ryuji's death. Later on, Nana reaches Mikuru's room for her poison, until Jin appears with the poison and gives it to her. Jin tells Nana to check on Mikuru, but as Nana opens the bathroom door, she finds Mikuru is unconscious in the tub. After a mental debate on whether or not to save her, Nana finally rushes to their teacher to ask for the doctor, but tells her to ask Keio for help. Keio gives Nana some medicine, and she rushes back to Mikuru's side. Later that night, Fuko asks Nana if there are any developments in the case, but Nana tells her that Keio is handling it. Time passes as Mikuru soon wakes up to tell Nana how she healed a cat that came to her before going to the shower. In a forest, Jin catches and talks to Ryuji's killer, telling him to stop harming the animals. Meanwhile, the mysterious committee is shown to have a meeting where Nana's mentor, Mr. Soroka, says that he will go to inspect the school. Back on the island, Nana plays a game with Mikuru and asks why she's a good person. Mikuru tells Nana that she used to be bullied because of her power. One day, she healed a dog, and a girl from her school approached her to thank her for the kindness. Starting then, the girl Hitomi defended her from bullies and encouraged her to use her talents to help others. Mikuru explains that Hitomi had cancer and she died. She said that her and Hitomi's friendship has left a long-lasting effect on her, and that is why she has always opened up to help everyone with her powers, even though it shortens her life. Nana leaves the room and once again gets torn up between what to prioritize, her friendship with Mikuru or her mission. Jin sneaks into Nana's room to give her a tip of Mikuru's whereabouts. After saying that she might be in danger, Nana's immediate response was to go to her rescue. Midway, Nana gets a call from Mr. Soroka, who is the man from the council and Nana's boss. He said that he calls to remind her of her mission and expects her to carry it out. Again, Nana seems to have a change of heart and decides that Mikuru is still an enemy, and she's not worth risking the mission. The scared Mikuru tries with vain attempts to escape the killer. Just when the stab that could have ended her life reached her, Nana appears and shields her from it. Taking the stab in the back, Nana reveals that Ryuji's killer is Mogo's friend, who can astral travel. His name is Rentaro. Rentaro, who is in his astro form, finishes off the weekend Nana with more stabs, apparently finding delight in the murder with no intention other than getting high on it. Within the dormitories, Kilia finds Rentaro's physical body as he and Nana planned earlier, which breaks his astral travel. With the astral form of Rentaro gone, Mikuru rushes to Nana, who is bleeding profusely, barely alive. Without second-guessing, she starts healing her injuries despite Nana's protests to stop. Nana is restored to perfect health and depart from bloodied clothes to torn in places that she stabbed. There are no traces of injury. She kneels in front of Mikuru's body to try to listen for a heartbeat. But what she hears makes her break down in an anguished sob. And that was Talentless Nana, Season 1 recap. If you have enjoyed this recap, remember to hit the sub. Click the like button and comment down below to let me know what you think of the series. I'll see you on the next video.